Hey guys, today I'm going to be fitting a dash camera in my Saab 9.5 new generation. If you guys follow my channel, you probably know that I like my in-car technology very much and I like proper quality stuff. So I did a bit of research with regards to the dash cams and I've got myself a Vantrue N4. This is a particularly top spec dash cam. It has a rear dash cam as well, which records in 1080p simultaneously. And then it has the third camera that looks at the occupants of the car as well, which is quite interesting, although that's not something that I'm particularly interested in. It's more the fact that it has a high resolution recording from the front and a 1080p on the rear as well. And it's got a nice aperture as well, so at night time you should be able to read number plates, etc. as well. But on top of all of that stuff, it records when you're not in the car, and this is what I'm particularly interested in. So what that means is, if someone opens their car door onto your car, it will cause your car to wobble a little bit, and that should mean that the camera should come on. Now obviously if it's recording whilst you're not in the car, whilst the engine isn't running, it's using the car battery up and you don't want to come back to a dead battery. Well, Vantrue has thought of this and they have battery under voltage protection. Now unfortunately, the box for the dashcam hardwire kit does not actually come with the camera. You have to get it separately, but because I did actually want that functionality, I have got it with this camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unbox this camera and show you what's in the box, and then I'm going to show you how to wire it into your car. And as usual, I'll just say that I don't get paid to review these items. I am simply doing it to give you my opinion and experience so you can make your own decision if you want to buy one yourself. Okay, let's get it out of the box and see what we got. And here it is, here's the Vantrue N4 camera. Okay, so I'm going to pop in a SanDisk Extreme card, a naughty card, because you're not supposed to use SanDisks in these, you're supposed to use their own brand, but I don't have one of their own brands, so I'm going to use this one. SD card error, please format SD card. Okay. System setup, format SD card. All data will be deleted, format successful. Okay, the error is no longer there, and it's actually recording at the moment as well. So as we can see on the screen, you've got 1440p plus 1080p plus 1080p, and what that means is that it's recording the main camera at 1440p, so it's higher than high definition. It's recording this front-facing camera at 1080p, and then the rear view camera at 1080p as well. So all of those are being recorded at the same time on this memory card at 30 frames per second. The front-facing camera looking outside of the car is capable of recording in 4K, but only if you're recording from two different cameras. But to be honest, I don't think I'm going to be using this inside camera. There's no reason for it, so I'm going to record in 4K out the front and 1080 out the back. Parking mode, now that's what we want. What we have here is if someone hits your car and it feels, the G sensor feels something, it will start recording. Collision and motion detection is obviously the collision detection, plus if anything walks in front of the camera, it's going to start recording. And then finally, motion detection is just if someone walks in front of it. So the first thing we need to do is find out where we want to put this dash cam on our windscreen. Now this camera actually has another camera that looks inside the cabin as well. So most people will probably put it in the very center of the windscreen underneath their rear view mirror, so that it gets a centralized view both of the road and inside the cabin as well. However, that is going to really irritate me because it's slap bang in the middle of the windscreen and my visibility, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to put it as high as possible on the passenger side. And the reason I'm going to do that is because it's not obstructing my vision, it's still going to get a good view of the road, and it's essentially behind my mirror, so it's not going to be annoying on the windscreen. So now that we've decided where we're going to put it, we need to work out how to wire it. Now if this was a standard dash cam, you'd be plugging it into a cigarette lighter. But I'm going to be hardwiring this camera because I don't want to see any wires in my car. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my wires behind the roof liner here. It's going to go down this pillar and then it's going to enter behind the glove compartment where the fuse box is. Now if you had a left-hand drive car, then it's the same because you have a compartment where you have your fuse box, and again you can get in there very easily as well. Now this dash cam also has a rear camera that has to plug into it as well, that looks out the back of the car. So after we've fitted this, we need to work out how we're going to get a wire from the back of the car to the front, but I'm going to start with this now. So in preparation, what I'm going to do is going to remove a few parts of the car, which is going to make this much easier for me. Starting with this pillar part here. So I'm going to open the door. I'm going to use a trim removal tool, which is this plastic piece here, to basically get underneath it and pry it up. So now that this is sort of hanging off, the next part we want to remove is the plastic side piece here. So again, with your plastic removal tool, like so. Now this is going to allow us to get in behind the glove box where the fuse panel is. Right, so at this point I'm going to start running the wires. So I'm going to plug in my camera like so, and then I'm going to pop it up where it needs to be, up here. There we go. And now I'm going to run the cable between the windscreen and the roof liner up here. I'm going to run the wire over this pillar and then down and then as it gets down the side of the dashboard, just push it in behind the rubber until it gets in here. Now if you have a look at these two connectors that are on the end of the hardwire kit, you've got the red live and you've got a black neutral, which actually comes with a little clip to go around a bolt. So whilst we have this side panel off, you can see there's a bolt up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect this to that bolt so that we can get our ground connection. So this bolt here is 10 millimeters. So we're going to pop the bolt through this and then we're going to put it back. So now we're going to get this cool little fuse adapter thing that came with the Vantrue system, which is going to make things really easy. And we're going to plug this into our live connector here, like so. Just making sure that the rubber is covering all the live section of the bare metal. And then we're going to thread the fuse part behind the dashboard and into the area where the fuse box is. So inside the glove box you've got your hidden compartment here, which is the fuse box, and you will notice that you have a missing fuse, or at least I do here, and that's very convenient because we have somewhere for a fuse to go with this adapter. So what we do is we just plug it in to that in that area there, like so, like that. What you should notice is that suddenly your dash cam comes on. Now at this point, because we've powered it up, we can start putting things back together. We're going to close the glove box. So I'm going to get a cable tie, and I'm going to sort of just try to clear up all of this excess cable, and then we can just chuck that in there. Perfect. And then we can put our side panel back on. There we go. But we're not going to put this back yet, because the whole reason that we pulled this off was so that we could hide some excess wire down there before we push it back on, because we need to do the back camera now. So the next thing that we're going to install is the rear camera that comes with the Vantrue kit. And it actually comes with an adhesive, so this will just stick onto the glass, which makes it nice and easy. And I'm just going to put this in the center up here. But before I do that, I'm going to give the window a bit of a clean, because it looks like there's been a sticker on here before. There we go. So now that I've cleaned the window, I'm going to pop the camera up there. You can see which way it goes because Vantrue is written on it. Right, so now that I've placed it there, I'm going to plug in the extension cable. There we go, and then I'm going to plug it in. There we go. And as with the front camera, I'm going to hide this wire directly between the window and the headlining. Now as we start to get closer to this part, we're going to actually need to remove this. So using a tool, you can just pop that airbag label off, and it's a 7mm socket. And once you remove the socket, what we want to do is put the seats down out of the way, and then just unhook your seat belt and give this bolster a pull, and it will just come off, and that will allow you to then pull this part off as well. There we go, and then we can run the wire the entire length of this headlining, and you can pull it tight. So the same with the middle pillar here. We're just going to knock off that airbag tab and then undo the 7mm bolt inside. We just want to pull this forward just a tad, just enough to be able to access behind it. So now we can thread our wire underneath the headlining all the way. We can thread the end of the wire under the back of it, like so. And similarly, when we're on this side, we want to get the wire underneath the headlining here as well, out of the way, all the way along. Until you get to your pillar. And at this point, we want to start putting stuff back together. So because you've pulled the headlining, it's probably the rubber seal is going to be sitting behind it. So you need to pull the rubber seal back over the headlining again. There we go. And the same for the rear ones as well. We just need to get this rubber back over where it should be. So we're going to put the back of the car back together now. I know we need to pop this back in. Now there's two clips here which go into the parcel shelf here. So just slide it along and drop them in place. Like so. And then just knock it in. And there we go. Make sure that the rubber seal is on top of it. And then we can stick our bolt back in, 7mm. And then pop the tag back over, like so. Just get the seat belt out of the way and pop our bolster back on. Starting with the bottom, and then give it a knock and it will be in place. And the seat belt just sits in the plastic clip, and then we can put the seat back up like so. And we're back to where we started with how the car is supposed to be. So now we're back in the front of the car again, but now we have all this wire from the rear camera that we now need to hide somewhere so that we can finally finish it. So we're close to the end now, too much cable, and that is why we have this bolster off. And then I'm going to plug it in. and run the cable up into the headliner. Now you want to be putting the excess wire along the top of this pillar, because on the bottom half you've got your airbag and you don't want to be disrupting that when it comes out. And now we need to push the A-pillar back into place. And there we go. The Vantrue front and rear cameras have been installed, and the only wire that can be seen is this one here, which just disappears from the camera up until the roof lighting. Everything else is invisible, and now I'm going to test it out and see how good it is.